S-400 is a Russian-made anti-aircraft missile system. It's been called one of the most reliable air defenses around and can shoot down almost any target. The S-400 has a range of 400 kilometers and can track hundreds of targets simultaneously. Its capability is so prized that only a few countries have been able to get their hands on it. So far, Russia has only sold the missiles to China and India.
Цель по первому.
Есть цель по второму.
Большие задачи по первому. Цель по первому уничтожить, расход 2.
Внимание, пуск.
The S-400 is the real game changer. The reason is the multiple intercept missiles the S-400 system can fire. The S-400 supports 4 different missiles: the very long-range series 400 kilometers, 250 kilometers, 120 kilometers and the short-range 40 kilometers. By comparison, the U.S. Patriot system supports only one interceptor missile with a range of 96 kilometers. But there is more. The 9M96E2 is one of the jewels of the S-400 system. It flies at Mach 15 around 5,000 meters per second or 18,500 kph. It can engage targets as low as 5 meters off the ground, and it can maneuver pulling up to 20 Gs. A human can withstand no more than 9 Gs with special pressure suits and helmets, and for only a few seconds. It is designed to knock out penetrating aircraft and missiles flying off the deck or just above ground and neutralize cruise missiles. Dr. Carlo Kopp, one of the world's top aerospace experts, says the S-400 has optional acquisition radars designed to defeat modern stealth aircraft such as the F-22 and the F-35. They work by operating in multiple frequency bands, including both VHF and L bands that can see stealth-protected fighters. Stealth designs have been built on low detection by X-band radars. The most common military and civilian radars, others such as C-band, now known as the GH band, are less prevalent. The F-35 has stealth protection mainly in the front of the aircraft, meaning that when it turns away from its target it is vulnerable. In time, the entire air defense system of the US and its allies, all based primarily on X-band, will become obsolete as China and Russia move towards stealth aircraft and missiles. Along with the radar enhancements which may or may not be delivered to foreign customers, Russia has a formidable integrated air defense system, even though the size of its truly modern aircraft fleet is quite small compared to the United States and NATO. Russia lost a decade in the arms race when it had no money to develop and build new aircraft, and its economy today barely supports acquisition of effective numbers of new equipment. Indeed, one of the reasons Russia developed its air defenses along with wanting to counter U.S. stealth aircraft and cruise missiles is because it could not afford a big fleet of modern fighter aircraft. The U.S. administration and Congress should pay close attention to Russia's limited offensive capabilities, not too often in these days of anti-Russian hysteria in Washington. One use of the S-400 long-range missile is against standoff systems including flying command posts and aircraft such as the E-3 Sentry AWACS. These aircraft, which are used by the US and its NATO allies with a squadron stationed in Japan at Kadena AFB and in the UAE at Al Dhafra, are vulnerable to S-400 interceptors and lose their standoff range protection. We may be reaching the end of the AWACS capability, which were originally designed in the 1960s. The S-400 also has capability against ballistic missiles, a feature that surely attracted Saudi Arabia's interest. How good it is against ballistic missiles? No one knows for sure. The Russian breakthrough makes sense in technological terms. The US does not have a true competitor to the S-400 system, and the US is not anxious to see such systems proliferate. Too bad and too late. A complex solution to a complex problem. America's unique electronic warfare and radar suppression abilities includes the Growler, but also many other platforms and ancillary capabilities as well. This complex ecosystem of weaponry and sensors includes various surveillance aircraft, hacking and cyber warfare abilities, active suppression of enemy air defenses tactics and weaponry, along with low observable aircraft and long-range standoff munitions. The last two are especially potent when combined together and electronic warfare support is added. Firing long-range, low-observable stealthy weaponry from even a non-stealthy aircraft gives enough standoff distance to begin taking out an enemy's known air defenses at a safe distance. Today, the S-400 included in most cases. When a stealthy launch platform is used instead, you can use more plentiful weapons with less range, as that stealth aircraft can get closer to the air defenses being targeted than their non-stealthy brethren can. For instance, an F-16 may be able to get well within JASSM missile range of an advanced SAM site, while an F-35 could get within the outer edge of small diameter bomb range. When you add jamming support, these ranges decrease by a noticeable margin, depending on what tactics are used and what the capacity available is to employ those tactics. The problem is that against an advanced foe, you're not going up against a single SAM site or radar, but a full constellation of systems that includes aerial assets, just like the Advanced Integrated Air Defense System we discussed before. Here's Russia's S-400 missile system in action, and how the US would deal with it. That is why brochure comparisons of systems is nearly useless for such complex military topics. In real life, the Growler does not take on the S-400 alone, and vice versa. An advanced IADS including the S-400 in it will likely feature increased detection ranges against stealthy and non-stealthy aircraft alike. It will also make jamming more problematic, and could mean blinding even a portion of that network is much tougher due to multiple layers of redundant air defenses tied together. This is where cyber warfare and pinpoint strikes based on multiple sources of intelligence can be more effective than jamming or going after the surface-to-air missiles and sensors themselves. For instance, taking out the IADS brains, locations where the sensor fusion occurs, or striking the system's communications channels. As IADS sensor and fusion capabilities advances and as surface-to-air missile ranges increase, it may be necessary to use stealthy long-range networked weapons, long-range stealthy aircraft and all the other tactics we mentioned, including standoff jamming, in order to begin to degrade and eventually destroy an advanced air defense system. Additionally, this may be necessary due to other area denial and anti-access capabilities the enemy possesses. For instance, if a carrier cannot get within 1,500 miles of an enemy's shores, its aircraft will be incapable of striking targets. Bases within range of ballistic missile barrages may also be destroyed. As the cumulative effects of these first days of war standoff strikes take hold, the IADS should begin to buckle, and parts of this deadly air defense killing cocktail can be omitted. For instance, instead of using long-range stealthy aircraft to launch long-range stealthy missiles, stealthy fighters can be used to launch medium-range weaponry, as their tankers can operate close enough to enemy airspace in order for them to be effective. Meanwhile, long-range non-stealthy aircraft can begin launching long-range weapons, which frees up stealthy long-range aircraft to begin pushing over or near the enemy's shores for direct attacks. Systems like miniature air-launched decoys can be used along with strike assets to push deeper into an enemy's territory, wiping out its air defenses along the way. As time goes on, a sanitized corridor should emerge over enemy airspace, where less complex tactics can be applied and at higher sortie rates. For instance, fighter strikes can be flown with electronic warfare and Wild Weasel support, without the need for standoff weaponry, or in some cases, without stealthy aircraft at all. In other words, it takes a complex cocktail of jamming, surveillance and attack assets, both kinetic and non-kinetic, to take on any advanced integrated air defense system, of which the S-400 could be a part. And even then, you degrade and eventually destroy the enemy's air defense in a very throughout and methodical manner. So although it is an incredibly capable and critical weapon system, those who say the AR-18G Growler, or any other single weapon system for that matter, is some panacea for modern air defense systems are greatly simplifying a complex solution to a very complex problem.